Sorry about that. I had to clean the lens a little bit. But I want to welcome you guys all to a live discussion. I actually talked about this. I got about 21 minutes to go before I have to get back from lunch. I wanted to talk about this because I did a live wrestling discussion where I talked about 3 wrestling topics last night, and this was the first one I started with. And once again, I do apologize to anybody that was watching or watched it post live, basically the now uploaded version, the post live version. I want to apologize to anybody that watched either way, live or after live. For me, kind of getting off track a little bit when I was talking about this, I was getting into, GFW's relationship, partnership with AAA, and, what's going on there, and the, storyline-wise, why they have almost like a 3-way feud going on between both sides. Well, I kind of got off track a little bit when I was talking about this, so I wanted to I thought about it, and I thought, I gotta do a separate video on this subject. I gotta do a separate video. I apologize if there's going to be any kind of bad connection, so I do apologize for that. But I wanted to talk about what everybody's been talking about over the past 48 hours. And sorry for the bad connection. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this because, like I said, everybody's been talking about it, and like I said, I talked about it, discussed it a little bit yesterday, or last night in the live wrestling discussion. So I figured I'd kind of do a separate video. I can give it more focus, and hopefully I won't lose track about what I'm saying. But I've heard what everybody's said. I've seen the photos. I think I've seen the video. Well, maybe not the video, but I've seen photos. I've seen people talk about it. I've read, I even read Rosemary's tweet live on the, just like Joe Cronin did, about her reaction to it, because basically it happened to her. Mostly. She was mostly I guess you could say, the victim in this, of the fact that she was put in a predicament. She was put in a predicament last night. This weekend. She was put in a predicament this past weekend that, well, honestly, it really disgusted a lot of people in the wrestling business. It really disgusted a lot of people because we all know that if you kind of show disrespect, we all know as wrestling fans or sports fans, what have you, that if you're a newcomer to something, if you're new to the sport, or you're new to the business, and you kind of act like you're better than everybody else, and you start shooting and you kind of start acting like you're better than everybody else, you kind of act like you do whatever you want, and by doing so, you kind of start rubbing people the wrong way. It's going to get you into a lot of crap. And we've seen this happen many times. WWE has had good examples of it. Probably one of the more infamous examples. One of the more infamous examples is the Royal Rumble from, I think, 2003? I believe it was 2003. I'm not really sure. I think it was 2003. Where I don't know if it was 2003 or when it was, It was one of those years. I think it was around 2003 or 2005, one of them. It was basically after, I think, the second Tough Enough. And Daniel Puder had really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Not because of the fact that he started shooting, if you will, shoot wrestling or fighting with Kurt Angle during the Kurt Angle Invitational, or basically when Kurt Angle was asked to come in, was brought to the ring to kind of face, at the time, the Tough Enough competitors. Not only did he rub them the wrong way that way, but I guess he started to show a lot of disrespect, to the point that in the Royal Rumble match itself, you had Guerrero, you had Benoit, and you had Hardcore Harley basically shoot on him by legitimately beating the tar out of the guy. Another good example is when the Acolytes, the APA, beat the crap out of Public Enemy on Sunday Night Heat. You know, Public Enemy was supposed to do something, they didn't want to do it, and the APA beat the crap out of them. You know, it's happened many times. There's no doubt. And some people have said it's been justified. But what happened at TripleMania apparently wasn't justified, because many people felt it was disgusting. Basically, long story short, and pretty much a lot of you know about this already, Rosemary was put into an armbar and forced to tap out. Now, if that's how the match was supposed to go down, then fine. But it wasn't a working armbar. It wasn't a wrestling armbar. It was a legitimate armbar. I mean, we're talking basically going to town UFC MMA kind of like armbar, to the point that she popped and dislocated Rosemary's elbow out of socket. Now, Rosemary, from what we understand, is gonna have time to heal up and will be ready to go by Bound for Glory, from what we understand. But basically, what happened in the match is Sexy Star decided to shoot on Rosemary with this finisher that, even though the match may have been planned to go her way and allow her to go over, the way she went over was not originally intended to be the way it went down. And from what we understand, she had legitimate heat backstage in the ring with Lady Shauna and Hamada. Well, mostly Lady Shauna. So we don't know what happened there. And like I said in the discussion video yesterday, I'm only wondering if maybe Sexy Star intended, again, I'm not defending her actions, I'm not defending what she did, because it's kind of wrong when you go into business for yourself, as some people say, like she did, and try to legitimately hurt somebody, take away their career, take away their livelihood. So to hear about that, you know, it is kind of disgusting. It is kind of unjustified, if you will. Because one can understand why certain other wrestlers got shot on during matches and legitimately got the hell beat out of them. And a lot of people will say it was justified for what the person said did it to them. You know, people will say it was justified because they didn't, show any respect. They didn't want to go through with a plan spot or finish. So yeah, you're gonna legitimately shoot on somebody in front of the world if you have to. Beat the crap out of them, or knock some sense into them. You know, it's like, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But from what I understand, Rosemary never did anything. Rosemary didn't do anything wrong. Sexy Star just decided to go into business for herself and try to legitimately hurt Rosemary and end her career. But why would she do that? You see, that's the question. You know, did she think by legitimately hurting Rosemary it was going to add fuel to a possible AAA versus GFW storyline that's taking place on Impact? You know, was it to play into the fact that, you know, was it to help play into that MMA versus GFW storyline as well, that's taking place at the same time on Impact, to show that MMA is more real and more legitimate than wrestling? You know, one has to wonder about that. One has to wonder, because it's like, you know, why would you do it if you didn't have a legitimate, if there wasn't, and I guess in your eyes, a legitimate reason? Now, like I said last night, and again, I'm not defending her, maybe she wanted to put it on Lady Shauna, and Lady Shauna got out of the ring when she did, and out of anger and frustration, she took it out on Rosemary. We don't know what really happened. We don't know why she did this. I mean, was she angry that GFW didn't invite her to be part of the company as part of the talent exchange between both companies? Is that what she was angry about? I don't know. You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's the case or if that's what happened. I mean, was she upset at the fact that GFW didn't invite her to be part of the talent exchange with AAA? I don't know. I can say this though: Sexy Star is not shied away from being in the eye of the storm. She's not shied away of being part of controversy when it comes to AAA. I mean, one of the stories that went around is Tyra Valkyrie left AAA legitimately because the political mover did something to get the women's championship back around her waist. Sorry about the bad connection here. But that she did something to get the women's championship back around her waist. A championship that Tyra was holding for time. Sorry for the disconnect there, but anyway, like I said, Sexy Star is a stranger to being in the eye of controversy, in the eye of the controversial storm. She's no stranger to it. So for her to be in this kind of situation, it's no different. It's controversial of what she did, but it's something that not a lot of people would expect her to do, because she is so focused. She's one of the primary focuses of AAA's and MGM's Lucha Underground series and brand, and somewhat of a babyface, if not one of the top baby faces there on that Lucha Underground show and brand, that you wouldn't think she'd do something like this, but she did. And again, we don't know the reason why. You know, we probably never will know the reason unless she comes out and says it. And here's the thing, like I said last night, you have a lot of wrestling personalities that are not happy with her. Women wrestlers, male wrestlers, they're not happy with what she did. They're not happy. But honestly, again, like I said, we can't really tell or know what was going through her mind, or we can't find out yet unless she comes out and says it, of why she went and did it. You know, what was her reasoning? You know, that's the question you got to ask yourself. I mean, again, some people might call the men and women that have been in the business, that are currently in the business, they might call them hypocrites and hypocritical for being mad about this, and hypocrites for being mad about this, when in fact they, or friends of theirs, buddies of theirs, have gone and done the same freaking thing. But it's like I said, I think what some people will come out and defend about other men and women doing this is most of the time it was justified. There was a reason. They were going in the ring with somebody that legitimately disrespected them, pissed them off, pissed off the locker room, acted like they were the greatest thing, you know, to be in wrestling. As you know, be a gift to being the said wrestling company. So basically, put yourself in the shoes of those kind of athletes. When you get a chance to be in the ring with said individual that's rubbed you the wrong way, of course you're going to want to beat the crap out of him. Of course you're going to want to beat the crap out of him. I mean, take a look at Enzo Amore. You know, we're lucky nobody has come out in a match yet, and legitimately shot on him a few times doing it to kind of make him wake up and realize, hey, you need to keep your mouth quiet and start showing some respect because you're rubbing people the wrong way. So like I said, so again, you know, I don't know if that's, so again, what I'm saying is, you know, we haven't seen that happen to someone like Enzo in WWE yet. Not saying it would, but still, if that was to happen to him, in the eyes of whoever did it, and in the eyes of the locker rooms, all of them maybe, it'd be justified because they'd be using that moment to shut him up. And like I said, you know, it took three guys to legitimately shoot on Daniel Puder and teach him respect. And we hadn't heard from him since when it comes to wrestling. You know, the Public Enemy never showed their face in WWE again after the APA shot on them. All because if you show any kind of disrespect to the wrestlers, to the locker room, you're going to get, when the opportunity arises, they can get you in that ring, they're going to take a moment or two to beat the crap out of you legitimately to teach you a lesson in respect and how to do business. Or, in the case of Enzo, if that ever happens, to keep your mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference between justified, legitimate shooting, even for a brief period or so in a match. There's a difference between that and unjustified shooting for no reason, because you don't know what the reason was. You don't know what the problem was. You know, what was Sexy Star's reasoning? We may never know. The point is, what she did was wrong, and now she has to be held for it. Sorry about the bad connection. She has of the fact everybody has kept a close eye on her, you know, hoping the day that when she does decide to go elsewhere, that she'll go to WWE. But I don't know if maybe they did it out of jealousy for that. All I know is something in Sexy Star snapped, and she just decided to go full on legit shoot on Rosemary, Lady Shauna, and Hamada, because from what I understand, even during the match, when she would get into it with Lady Shauna, they were not wrestling, they were legitimately fighting. The stiffs would be real, the kicks would be real. Basically, it's like a fight of disdain between the two. A fight of disdain between the two. And you know, when people look at something like Alexa and Sasha, you might be worried that in effect some of those stiff shots may not just be, oh, let's make it look as real as we can. Those stiff shots may be legitimate shoot shots because both don't really like each other. But here's the thing. They're both professional enough to realize, hey, we're on this big stage known as WWE. Maybe we shouldn't really get too into this. Maybe we shouldn't really get too shooty like with this situation. Not saying Sexy Star didn't follow that thought process, but still, whether they like each other or they don't, Sasha and Alexa are professional enough to realize that they can't cross that line, and if they do, they're fired and stripped of the championship depending on who's champion. But when I look at Sexy Star doing what she did, all I can say is that whatever popularity she had, it got flushed right down the toilet when she did this. It got flushed right down the toilet when she did this. And if I'm her, I go and get therapy. I go get some psychological help. I try to find out why I did what I did and try to give a legitimate, truthful answer when the time is right. So, my thoughts as I get ready to go back to work here on Sexy Star doing what she did, I believe it was wrong. I think she needs to take a little time off, go get some therapy, psychological help, and try to find out, and when she's well enough or she's ready enough, come out and kind of talk about why she did it, and maybe give some legitimate reason that we can believe. So that's all really I'm going to say about it. Let me know what you guys think though down below. What do you think about this whole Sexy Star shooting that TripleMania deal? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I have to head back into work now. God bless. Take care.